Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. I think this is a great segue, actually, with the conversation we just had with Christina, talking about, how things have changed and different sort of work cultures and everything. But I think on a personal level, all of us are looking to sort of discover ourselves and find out what more we have within each other. My next guest helps her clients with just that. I'm joined by Sarah Bifield from Magic of Midlife, Discover Your Life Purpose. Welcome, Sarah. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much,
Derek. From our discussion in the green room, I was really fascinated because this sounds like something that's been kind of percolating with you for quite some time. Tell me the inspiration behind this.
The inspiration started in 2012 when my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I was living in Canada, she was living in England, and I was her power of attorney, so I had to look out for her, and it was very difficult. So I had to put her into a nursing home in 2015, and I had got to learn a lot because I would stay in the nursing home and I visited her, so I learned a lot, and it brought the compassion out of me.
Right.
So then I learned to become a nutritionist, and when she died in 2019, I went into coaching because I wanted to help women prevent Alzheimer's.
So, and I think your coaching has grown even beyond that. Am I right? I hope I'm not...
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
I loved it so much, and it became about me. I had to learn, who am I? What's my purpose? I didn't know where it was going to take me, and it evolved. And it ended up with me wanting to coach women in groups, so I became a transformational facilitator.
Okay.
And now that's what I'm doing. I'm helping women in groups to discover who they are and what's their purpose in life.
What's that process like? How do you go about doing that?
So the process is really, I meet people where they are, but they sort of say, I don't know who I am anymore, I've lost my identity, and I understand that. Then they say, I really feel like I want to serve someone, I want to do it, but I don't know who I want to serve. So I take them from the bottom of self-compassion, introspection, getting to know what their needs are. Then we go through to self-discovery, and I've really gone into ancestry with that, because you've got to know your traditions, your beliefs, your values, and all those wonderful things, and it goes back through the lines, and that's how I discovered who I am. And then from there it goes into self-discovery, self-fulfillment. So you start learning your strengths and your life experiences and pull out all those little pearls of wisdom to discover your purpose. And then it goes into living legacy. So you can start inspiring future generations.
Yeah. You mentioned that a lot of women, had lost their identity. Were there some common themes for the reasons why they felt that way?
Generally, people have been looking after children all the time, so there's a sense of redundancy then. And at the same time, you've got that sandwich generation of your kids leaving home and then your parents needing you because they've got their various illnesses, and then you've got that feeling of loss. So you just don't know who you are, and plus you've probably been working as well. I know that I was an entrepreneur and always busy, so I kind of gave myself to everybody else, and that's what other women do too.
Yeah, and I think, just as you described that speaks to almost any woman that I've come across in my own personal life. Yeah. Do you think women tend to take on more responsibility?
I think it's in our DNA.
Yeah.
I think if we go back thousands of years, we've been the one we have the children, we nurture them. We like being in communities. So now I love having groups of women together because they get very deep very quickly. And that's because they're with other women and they feel safe because I create safe spaces for them. So I definitely think it's in our DNA.
Your journey of self-discovery, you talked about, obviously, that the beginnings with your mother, and that loss is an incredible loss for anybody, Sarah. But during this growth period, what are some of the biggest things you've learned about Sarah?
Well, growing up, my mother was very protective of me, so she made me feel like it's better not to try rather than fail. So therefore, I've discovered that actually I am quite smart, and and I can actually do these things, whereas before I didn't try. So I never really fulfilled my own purpose because I'd give up. Even with my entrepreneurial businesses, I would get to where they were just on the tipping point of being successful, and I thought, no, I can't do this. This is too much of a commitment, and there was too much responsibility. And then I'd give up, and it's really frustrating when you do that. So now I know how to push through the comfort zones and do things that feel uncomfortable because they're the biggest growth areas.
You mentioned you formed a group, so this is the Facebook group
My
that that you've joined?
My Facebook group. So I'm trying to create community. I'm looking for other holistic practitioners or artists or anyone in the creative field, and it's women inspiring women. So those looking for their purpose, I'm helping them by bringing other people, so you meet and you kind of get inspired.
And I understand you've started writing a book as well. Tell
Yes.
me about that and the reason behind that.
Well, the Luminaire's Legacy is about the journey that you go on. So it's a teaching memoir. So I bring up all my own learnings and teachings, going through the ancestry. And, you know, Jack the Ripper is in my history.
Really?
Yes. And there's all these wonderful characters that I've discovered, and people don't know what's in their past necessarily, but it's so important. But some women don't want to look in their past because there's some abuse and traumas and things. They don't want to bring that up. But when you do, that's when you start going into, okay, I can break through that and I can understand who I am, and now I can find my purpose.
To join the Facebook group, is there any particular criteria if
No,
women
it's
are
a
watching?
private group because of the vulnerability that's
course.
in there. There's a lot of people like to share things, and so therefore they just need to go on there, answer a few questions, and then I'll let them in. And yeah, it's an inspirational site.
For anyone that wants to get in touch with you and they'd like to sit down and, you know, help discover and you know, recreate that identity that perhaps they've lost, what's the best way to get in touch with you, Sarah?
Well, they can come through my email, which is sarah@bifield@gmail.com. But otherwise, go into the Facebook group. I'm very active on it. I hold workshops, and because it's the beginning of the book, I hold workshops at beta programs.
Excellent.
As I go through the book.
Appreciate your time. Thanks
Thank you
so much,
so
Sarah.
much.
We'll be right back after this.